Hey, it's Phyllis here again. Phyllis Woodfine. I thought I would talk a little bit today about the invisible load, particularly because it's International Women's Day tomorrow. And the term invisible work or invisible load was coined by Arlene Kaplan Daniels, I think in the 80s. Um, and I'm using it in terms of how women in particular, because it's International Women's Day, that's why I'm going to be talking about that. And for those of you who know me, I work a lot, I coach a lot of executive women um, and women who sort of like are quite high up in their um, positions at work. And actually, this can apply to a lot of women because we often have this unseen weight, this unseen load of being the problem solver, the emotional anchor, the fixer, the planner, the person who manages everything, both in home and work, and often in relationships. And the expectation we have around that when we haven't got any recognition. Um, and often don't have recognition. Sometimes we do, but it's just the expectation that that's what we're going to do. And for those of you men out there, I know this happens to you as well. But as I said, I'm particularly focusing because it's International Women's Day tomorrow. And behind that is that mental stress. That's the science behind it. That us being constantly in that fight or flight mode, where on a chronic alert stage, where we're constantly having to think about these things. And although, as I said, I think probably in one of the talks earlier, that we do need an amount of stress as humans, we need that motivation, but it's that chronic stress. Um, and this can often lead to fatigue, sometimes burnout, but sometimes actually just where we're carrying on doing things and we've got that constant feeling of being under par, not quite performing at our best, but we don't totally burn out because we've got to cope. We've got to carry on with this thing. But in the background, we have headaches, sleep disturbances, hormonal imbalances. And if we're 40 plus, possibly going through perimenopause. We might even be postmenopause, or we might actually going through the menopause at that stage. So we have those additional changes of the hormones. And this can lead to us having increased pain, increased sensitivity, and stress. So rather than just talking about, I'm going to give you one thing that you can try and do to combat some of this. It's not going to get rid of all the loads. It's not going to get rid of all the stuff, but it gives your body a little bit of a break from it. Because if we're constantly on and constantly working, we're not going to be able to sleep properly. We're going to have these problems with our voice, with our stomach, holding tension. So sometimes we lose our voice because everything's holding tension there. So if we give our nervous system a little bit of a break, a really, really simple one can be just to take a breath. Sounds simple, doesn't it? So for 60 seconds, all we need to do is take a nice deep breath in through our nose and hold that for 4 seconds. And then slowly let that breath out. Now, if that feels like too much, you can hold it for 2 seconds. Breath in through the nose, hold it for 2 seconds, and then slowly breathe that breath out. This can just give you a couple of minutes of rest and recovery. It's your turn now. Give it a go. If it feels too much, then don't do it. This is a really simple technique. Another one I can give you, if that does feel too much, is literally grounding yourself. So if you're sitting, better if you can go outside barefoot and walk on a bit of grass or something. But if you can't do that, you can do this sitting at your desk, literally. Take a breath in, Just ground your feet into the ground. Think of your feet as you're letting that breath out. Think of your feet on the ground, your toes spreading. If you can take your shoes off, brilliant, and do it that way. Think of where you're sitting, your sitting bones in the seat there, and just shift yourself a little bit. And then just relax down into it. And it's just a real way of grounding yourself and taking a moment out. Give it a go. Drop any comments in, letting me know what you want me to be talking about in the future, but also what sort of things that you're going to do to work on your well-being, how you're going to prioritize some of your own well-being. All right, take good care. I'll see you soon.